Hey guys, is it Monday already? Goodness me. Today we're going to be doing ourselves a very delightful apple strudel, so I'm going to show you how to make that. We're also going to serve it with some custard, but not any custard. We're actually going to do a delightful pastry cream or creme patissiere. So if you're wondering what exactly is apple strudel, so basically it's an Austrian pastry filled with apples, rum, brown sugar, a little touch of breadcrumbs to take up that moisture to stop the pastry going soggy. But we're going to make that pastry from scratch. I'm going to show you how to do that. We're also going to stretch it out nicely. So yeah, I hope you guys are going to enjoy it. So the first thing we want to do is get the ingredients ready for the pastry cream or the creme patissiere. Now I'm going to do half the recipe I did for the eclairs and the profiteroles, so I'm not going to make too much for today. So we've got our milk, so we've got 250 ml of milk. We've also got 45 grams of sugar and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. If you've got a few cheeky vanilla pods, you can always put half of that in there, scrape the pods in, even better flavor, but they can be a bit expensive. So we're going to put this onto a medium-high heat, about 6 out of 10. We're also going to keep an eye on it as well. Careful it doesn't froth up and spoil over your stove. So without your eggs rolling around too much, you want to separate them. So we want 3 egg yolks, not whites. The whites you can always keep for a later date. Maybe make some cheeky meringue or something with it. Also, we want 10 grams of corn flour or cornstarch. So in addition, we also want 10 grams of flour. So you want to give the eggs, the flour, a little cheeky mix. Give that all a mix around until it's all nicely incorporated into a paste. Also, not forgetting your milk as well. Goodness me, mine's about to boil over. So have to be super quick with this. So after saving your milk from the stove, what we're going to do is pour the milk little by little, just to start off, to incorporate into the paste. If you add it all at once, it could end up quite lumpy. So, you know, just make sure you add a little by little. Once that's incorporated, add a little touch more. Just keep repeating that process until all that milk is in there. So all that paste should be all incorporated into the milk. So we're going to pop that straight back into the pan. So we're going to put this back onto the stove, and we're going to give this a nice little cheeky whisk. You don't have to go too crazy, but don't walk away from it, otherwise it's going to end up lumpy when it thickens up. So you just want to continuously stir it nice and gently until you get to that nice, thick, smooth consistency. So as you can see, it's already started to thicken up. The eggs are cooking out. Absolutely beautiful, so it should be nice and smooth. We're going to give this a little touch longer, just a minute or two longer, just to make sure you get that eggy taste out of it. So what we're going to do is pour that beautiful pastry cream into the tin, just spread it out as well so it can cool down a lot quicker. So that's looking fantastic, absolutely delicious. What we're going to do as well, put some cling film over the top to stop it forming a skin. Ooh, a little hot. So the next thing we want to do is make that beautiful cheeky strudel pastry. And we're going to need 160 grams of sifted bread flour. We're going to need about a tablespoon of lemon juice, a good little cheeky pinch of salt, and about 2 tablespoons of oil, and then obviously enough water to help it bind. Now, while we're using bread flour, the reason why it's got a higher gluten content, so when we come to stretch, it'll be a lot easier and a lot more stretchier. So we can go to that 160 grams of sifted bread flour. Also, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. Did I say tablespoon? I'm pretty sure I meant teaspoon. Also, 2 tablespoons of oil of your choice. I'm using canola for today. And 1 cheeky pinch of natural sea salt. And then add in little by little of water. Just start off with a little bit to begin with, just to help bind this dough together. So get your hand in there, get it all mixing around. If you need to add a little touch more, that's fine. Just careful you don't add too much all at once, otherwise you're going to have to start all over again, or add more flour and you could change the recipe altogether. So the dough's all bound together, and what we're going to do is give this a nice little knead, and also if you've got a little bit of pepper banger, you can throw it on the table, and what this is going to do is help stretch the gluten. So just give it a little hit on the table as well, just giving it a knead. So we really want to stretch that gluten quite a considerable amount. So once you've actually calmed down from your angry kneading, sorry, I couldn't help myself. What we're going to do is let this rest. I'm going to pop this into a bowl very nicely, so it should be looking nice and super smooth. So just cover it with a little touch of cling film, and what we're going to do is just going to set this aside while we do the filling. So we're going to need about 60 grams of melted butter, so get yourself a little cheeky pan. I'm going to dice up our butter into nice little cubes. In addition, we're also going to need 1 tablespoon of lemon juice as well in there. And usually people like to use a little bit of rum, but I'm actually going to use a little bit of apple calvados for today. So just about 2 cheeky tablespoons in here, not too crazy. So we're going to put this onto a low heat just to melt the butter. Once that is done, we're actually going to start to add in the beautiful raisins to it, so about 60 grams. Hi, chap. So that beautiful butter's melted. We've got our 60 grams of raisins, so we're going to pour this mix straight in just to kind of soak the raisins up very nicely. Also, I'm going to wash this pan out and then put another 40 grams of butter in to melt, so we got butter for brushing the pastry later on. So the way ingredients are done, we're also going to do the dries now. So I need about 70 grams of soft brown sugar. We're also going to need 90 grams of breadcrumbs as well. And we're also going to need 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. Don't have to go too crazy. So give that a nice little cheeky mix up, making sure all the breadcrumbs, the sugar, and the beautiful cinnamon is all mixed in very nice and evenly. So it's time for the apples. We're going to need about 900 grams of apples of your choice. I'm using Fuji for today. What we're going to do is just give them a nice little peel down. So there we go. There's all the peels done. I know it's not very appealing, but let's get rid of these now, and then we're going to give them a cheeky slice. So what we want to do is just cut the apple straight in half, and then we're just going to basically cut little wedges, roughly about the same size, ready for our beautiful strudel. And then obviously when you get halfway, just cut the bottom of the core out, just to get rid of that toughness, and then just slice them up. So once the apples are chopped up, we're going to chuck them into the bowl with the raisins and the butter and the the calvados. So we're going to give this a nice little cheeky mix up. So before we start rolling that beautiful pastry out, we're going to need to turn the oven on. So we need to turn it on to about 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. So our dough should be looking nice and soft and smooth, absolutely beautiful. So we're going to take that out, and what we're going to do is basically start stretching it, start rolling it. So we're going to roll it for a little touch, and then we're going to start stretching it once it's nice and thin. So get a little bit of dust in the flour. Not going too bonkers with this. And what we can do, we can actually start stretching it out now rather than rolling it. Almost like a pizza. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So basically all you're doing is pretty much stretching the dough out, and once it gets a little bit thinner and bigger, you'll be starting to use the back of your hands to stretch it out nicely. So we're just taking the thick parts right now and just gently stretching them, not pulling or breaking them. So you're looking for a nice long rectangle shape is what you're after. And now as it's a lot thinner now, you can start using the back of your hands to help starting to stretch this dough. If you accumulate little tiny holes as well, that's fine. Just kind of try and push them together to seal it back up. Just careful you don't go too thin. You just basically want to take it to a point where you can start seeing underneath on the work surface, and then that should be thin enough. Okay, there's our beautiful strudel rolled out very nicely, or stretched out very nicely, shall I say. So what we're going to do, set this aside very carefully. And if you've got a nice long tea towel, set down, you can use that and shake a nice bit of flour on there to stop it from sticking. I'm going to use parchment because I haven't got a long enough tea towel, so whichever you prefer. What we want to do is just lightly flour this. Don't go too crazy with it, but enough so make sure it doesn't stick. So we got the pastry onto the parchment paper. The next thing we want to do is get the melted butter we popped on earlier on, and we're going to brush it nicely. I'm just going to add a little cheeky touch of ground cinnamon to this though, just a little bit more flavor. So we just added a little cheeky teaspoon of cinnamon to the melted butter, and what we're going to do is just very carefully spread the butter all over the pastry. So we're going to grab the dry ingredients next, and what we're going to do is just cover it in a nice little layer. Beautiful. Also, chef almost forgot, just leave a little pinch of layer here that's not spread over with the sugar. Reason for it is when we roll it up, it doesn't come on the outside. But that's absolutely fine. If you have done it, don't panic, don't worry. That's good. So what we're going to do is grab our beautiful apples next. So those beautiful apples are on, ready to go. So what we're going to do is just carefully fold over the sides. And this is the tricky part, is rolling this side all the way up. And also not forgetting just a little touch of butter once you've folded some of the first half off, just so it seals up nicely. And there it is. There's our beautiful strudel that we rolled. Also, if the apples are a bit too much in there, you can take a little handful out if you need to, if there's not enough room. But you should be looking something like this, and also try and squeeze and tighten up the ends, so make sure it's all kind of covered very nicely. So we're going to pop this carefully onto a tray with a silk mat. So without covering yourself in too much flour and getting it onto the tray, so that is ready to go. And what we're going to do is give it a nice little cheeky brush of the rest of the butter. So just using the last bit of that butter, just give it a nice little generous basting. So there's that beautiful strudel. Fantastic. So we're going to pop it into the oven. It's going to take about half an hour to 40 minutes, depending on your oven. Everyone's different, so just keep an eye on it until that's got a nice golden crust on it. So let's pop this in now. So while we're waiting for that beautiful strudel to cook down, we're going to blend up our beautiful creme pat to make it super smooth. So pop this into a nice little jug, and then just give it a cheeky little blend. And there you go, that nice, smooth, cheeky little creme pat's ready to go. So I might pop this into a piping bag with the nozzle so we can play around with it a little bit. And there it is, amigos, that delicious apple strudel. So we're going to give it about 5 minutes to cool down, but goodness me, nice and crisp, and very, very little leakage as well, which is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to give that about 5 minutes to cool down, and then we're going to slice it and plate this little cheeky bad boy up. So just to kind of finish it off, add a little cheeky dusting of ice and sugar as well, just to finish that beautiful strudel off. So now it's time to cut that beautiful, beautiful strudel. Goodness me, can you hear that, guys? That nice, crispy pastry. Oh my goodness me. Look at that right there. Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. So let's finish this beautiful dish off. So a bit of that beautiful pastry cream we made. How glossy and beautiful that is. Goodness me. Beautiful apple strudel, goodness me, absolutely fantastic. And then just finished off, just a little bit more pastry cream on there. And you could even do some caramelized apples if you wanted to, whatever took your fancy. And there we have it, amigos. There is our delicious apple strudel made from scratch. So we made the pastry from scratch. We also did the beautiful apples with the calvados in there, the raisins, the butter, the breadcrumbs, the brown sugar. Beautiful. And we also did that delicious creme patissier or creme pat as well, just to finish it off. So hope you guys are happy. So that's it for this week, amigos. I hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to catch me live, I'll be on Twitch Tuesday to Friday, 10 AM Mountain Time. The link is below in the description box, so feel free to go check that out. But until next week, amigos, stay cheeky.